Hi, welcome back to the Django Rest Framework tutorial. Now we'll start with the concept of serializer. Serializer play a crucial role in converting complex data types such as Django model instances or query set into native Python data type that can be rendered into JSON and Excel. Now we'll start the practical implementation of serializer. The first step is to create the project. So to create a project, we will type the command django admin start project, name of the project. So here I am going to write the serializer pro is my project. Once we create the project, then we'll create one application. So we'll go to the project folder and then we'll create one of the application. To create the application, we'll type the command python manage dot py start app, name of the application. So here I add app1 is my name of the application. Once we add the name of application, then we need to install the REST framework. If you not install the REST framework, you need to install the REST framework first. Install the REST framework, we need to type a command pip install Django Rest Framework. In my case, it is already been installed. Now we'll go under the project folder. Inside the project folder, we'll find the settings.py. Scroll down that file little bit, you can find install app. Under the install app, we can add our customized application. So our first customized application is app1. Along with that, we'll have to do the registration of REST framework. So REST underscore framework. So that we can configure REST framework in this particular project. Once we configure both the setting, then we'll create one of the model. So open the application, go inside the models.py and we'll create one of the model. So to create a model, we'll type a class. Coder is my name of the model, models.model. So we'll start with the attribute. So attribute is first name, having models dot character field, and we can send a max length to this particular attribute. So max length is, let's say, 55. Then we'll move ahead for the next attribute is experience of the coder. Experience is in terms of integer value. So we can write models dot integer field. After that, we'll take skill set of the coder. Skills are in terms of character. So we'll take the character field. And here also we can set a max length. So max length here I'll set the 66. So this is just a simple model that I created. And that model is having one function type underscore string. And inside the function, we are going to return self dot I want first name of the coder. After that, we need to register this model under the admin.py. So open the admin.py and then we need to import the model first. So from app1.models import name of the model is coder. So that model is get imported in this particular file. After that, we'll write admin.site.register and we can mention the name of our model so that that model is get registered for the admin.py. Now we need to convert this model into query. For that purpose, we need to type a command python manage.py make migration, and then we need to migrate this into dataset so that all the dataset is get created along with the model that we have created. Once this step is complete, then we'll need to create a super user to add the record inside the database. So to create a super user, we can type a command python manage.py create super user, and you can mention the name of the user is admin. I don't want to put email address. Password is same, so I'll enter the same password. I want to create the super user. Now my super user is created. So now I need to run the project. To run a project, we need to type a command python manage.py run server and then open this particular link into the browser. Project is working fine. Here I am going to use the admin. Under the admin, we need to insert the credential admin so that it will display the model that we have created. Coder is the particular model under the application one. Inside the coder, I'll add few coder details. Now you can find there is no coder inside the dataset. So we'll add the coder details. So here I'm going to add the first coder name is, let's say, Gokul. Experience is, let's say, 5 years. And skill set is, let's say, Python. That record I'm going to save. I'll add one more record. Let's say name is Swara. And experience is, let's say, 5 year. Skill set is, let's say, Java. I'm going to save that record. I'll add one more record. Let's say Sachin. Experience is 12 year. And let's say skill set is .NET. And that record is get inserted into the database. Now here onwards, we'll start working with the serializer. How the serializer is going to convert this complex data, such as query set and model instance, we converted into native Python data type. So this data set we are going to convert it into our JSON or XML format. Now we'll start the implementation of serializer. Now we'll create one of the folder under the application, and that folder is, let's say, API. So under this API folder, we are going to add view, URL, and many more files. So first of all, we need to create a URL file, urls.py, under this folder. And also we are going to copy this view file and I'm going to paste into this folder. Both the files are initially empty. There is no any single line of code inside this view file. So these two files are there. We need to set this URL for project as well as for the application. We'll open the main project folder, go inside the urls.py, and now here we need to modify few things. So first of all, I'm going to include that application under this URL pattern. So I'm going to copy the content here and I'll modify it a little bit. So path, here we need to mention. So I want to add a pin, and here I want to port that particular URL. That particular URL is under app1.api.urls. It is present at the location app1. Under the app1 we have API folder, and under the API folder we have urls.py. So that has been redirected to this particular application. This part is completed. Now we are going to create the same URL pattern under the, so I am going to remove this include, and I just run one of the function. I just want to print coder list. I create function afterward, coder list, and here I'm going to call that function with the help of view. So we'll go to the view and we'll create a view first. Here I'm going to write the coder list. One of the parameter is request. Is going to pass to the function. Inside the function, we'll write a business logic. So we'll do afterwards that. First we'll complete the urls.py. So go again urls.py, and here we are going to import from app1.api.views, import one by one all the view. So coder list is a view that we are going to import. This particular function now we will use here. That's why I'm going to write m is equal to coder list. This is my first part that I'm going to set here. So this has been the setting of URL patterns has been set the APIs. Now we are going to update the coder list function. But before that, we need to use a serializer. So to use a serializer under the API folder, we need to create a new file, and name of the file is serializers.py. Inside the file, we are going to import some of the REST framework packages. To import the sum of the REST packages, add from REST framework import serializer. So this is the first particular package we require for serializer. Then we'll create a class for coder serializer. Here we write serializers dot serializer. REST framework documentation. After the tutorial to the serialization, and find setting already we did. Already we have created a model, creating a serializer class. So this serializer class we have created. These particular details we required under the serializer. Well, this copied some content. So I'll just copy this first attribute and go back into the coding and paste it here. And rest of the attribute I'll copy it from models.py. I'll go into the model.py, copy this content, and I'm going to paste it here. This particular model is going to be replaced with the serializers. Serializer integer field, serializer character field that we are going to write properly. So here also we can send a particular length if you want. If you don't want to send the length, we can remove it. This particular serializer class is created. Once the serializer class is created, you can easily access that serializer class in your views.py. Save this file, go to again views.py. Now we need to update this code with some modification. So first of all, we need to import a serializer class. So from app1 dot api dot serializers, we are going to import our code serializer. So this particular class we are going to import in this. After that, we are going to import the model. So model is from, let's say, serializer pro dot model from app1 dot models import coder models. So coder model and coder serializer is get imported. Now we'll modify the coder list function. So seed is object which take the coder details, coder dot objects dot all. It will take all the coder's details to the object C. Once it is stored into the C, now we need to do the serializer. Serializer is equal to coder serializer. In bracket, we are going to pass the object. It is get serialized to the serializer variable. And then we are going to return the response. Return the response. We need to import the response as well. We will go upside and we are going to import from REST framework dot response import a response. Then we are going to return a response with serializer data. Serializer dot data, and there are many records are there. So we are going to write any is equal to this modification is required in the coder list. Now what will happen? All the data of coder objects is stored into the C. Then it gets serializer by using serializer class, and then it is get displayed. Now we'll execute the functionality, whether it will give the correct result or not. So what I'll do, I'll just run this project by using the command python manage.py run server, and now we'll go back to the browser. We are going to put this URL, paste into the another app. We need to add the coder list. Now we get an error that attribute when attempting the value field first name serializer coder serializer. Now we'll get this particular error. Let me check. Okay, here we'll make instead of main, not in the response, it should be in the object. I just make a mistake again and go back to the press this, and now we'll get this accept renderer not set on a response. This is the particular error that we are getting. We haven't added any condition on views. We haven't added any decorator on view. So what type of request is not understood by the browser? We'll go back to the documentation, and under the documentation, we'll go inside the API guide. So the API guide can find views. Set the views. There are API views. That is a function based view, because we are using function based view. So if I click on the API based view, we need to first import this decorator under the project, and then we are going to write this so that this serializer will understand that it is a get request or a post request. Discuss that afterwards, but it is the initially we required to accept that renderer not set as a response. We'll copy this API views, go back to the code, I'm going to paste it the views. Once we paste that API's view, before the function, we need to add a decorator API view without any get and post pattern. That we'll discuss in the upcoming section. If you feel the content is useful, then hit the like button with no any. Once we add a decorator, save the code and go back to the browser again. And now we'll verify the output. Verify the output, just refresh the browser. And you can find these 3 records are added. First name is Gokul, first name is Sora, first name is Sachin. All the coder details has been displayed. Then get request. So by default, API view will take a get request. Now we'll talk about if I want to print or if I want to just take a one by one single record. So I just update the code back to the coding again and we'll add one more function. And just copied this coder list and I'll paste it here, and I want one more function here, that is coder underscore data. This particular function, and that function is having one parameter, that is a primary key. Rest coder information I want, instead of all object, I'm looking for a very specific object, that is get request, and let's say primary key equal to primary key. That has been set. So that information will be written only a single object, which is a specific record from the database. And then we need to do a serializer. Serializer is a coder serializer. When is equal to true, I don't want now, because I am expecting only one record, or I am getting only one record. Then it will return the response. Once I update the function, I need to update the URLs. Set the URL. We need to first add the function, that is coder data, and add one more URL pattern here. We'll take a one of the coder data, coder underscore data, having it will take integer as primary key, coder underscore data, and copy. Fine. So this is the URL update, as well as views are get updated. Now we'll go back to the browser and we'll wait. Inside the browser, we are going to update this link, coder underscore data, and specific ID is 4. You can find a specific record is get printed. If I want to print a 5th record, I just want to change the replace the that the record is get displayed properly. Hope you understand that how we can serialize and deserialize the data. The next video will talk about get requests, so that it will give more clarity that how we can use the API. Thanks for watching.